A U.S. Congressional advisory panel is casting doubt on China's designation as a favored trading partner. In an annual report, the committee recommended revoking the status if a review finds that China failed to comply with an earlier agreement to provide more market access to U.S. goods and services. It also called for the creation of an agency to safeguard U.S. supply chains and help address threats to Taiwan. The report was released after President Joe Biden met China's Xi Jinping at the G20 summit in Bali. The two promised to continue cooperating on issues ranging from climate change to food security. The Biden administration's top trade official says the meeting sends a powerful signal that the two leaders are able to manage their complicated ties. CNA's Jeremy Koh spoke with Catherine Tai on the sidelines of the Bloomberg New Economy Forum in Singapore.
I think that what we saw from the two presidents meeting is two extremely experienced leaders with experience with each other, demonstrating expertise in terms of managing this complex relationship. And I think particularly if you look at President Biden's body language in the pictures and in the film footage, you see someone who is very much at ease. The issues are not easy, but the responsible management of this relationship is absolutely critical. And it is really important that we have President Biden at the helm in leading the United States in managing this relationship with China.
So will you and your colleagues be meeting with your Chinese counterparts to work on the sticking points in the trade relationship between both countries?
The two presidents tasked their senior officials to continue to build on the communication, to continue to engage and have the open and candid conversations that we have been having. And it is my hope that we will see more and more opportunities to engage in person, especially. In the jobs that we have, nothing substitutes for in-person interactions. At the end of the day, what makes the world go round are human beings, and the basis of our interactions are the relationships that we build, even when the larger bilateral relationship remains extremely complicated.
So Bali was certainly a good start, in your opinion?
I think that Bali was a very important point, and it being the first time the two presidents have met in person, it's really a stark reminder of how restrictive China's COVID policies have been, and the impacts actually of the COVID years on the entire global economy can't be understated.
Are there any signs that President Biden could scrap any Trump-era tariffs on Chinese imports?
Well, I think we articulated last year that we are continuing to look for a realignment in the U.S.-China trade relationship, and that the tariffs can be a strategic tool in doing just that. You may have heard President Biden say that he raised with President Xi ongoing U.S. concerns about the negative impacts of China's non-market economic practices on the U.S. economy, on our workers, our families, and our businesses, and those impacts around the world as well. We will continue raising those concerns with our counterparts in Beijing.
Now, you also mentioned that the Indo-Pacific framework is a better fit for today's world than the CPTPP. Now, how is that so, and how will it address current challenges in global supply chains?
So I think if you look at the global economy that we have today compared to the one that we had 5 or 7 years ago, we have experienced now several years of the pandemic, associated disruptions to our supply chains. We also have earlier this year Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which, as you've noted, has increased pressures on global energy supplies and global food trade. In this current environment, also where the climate crisis and the urgency continues to increase, and we are continuing to see the digital transformation of our economies, what we really need in the Indo-Pacific economic framework is an economic engagement between the United States and our partners in this region to work together to promote resilience, sustainability, and inclusion. I think that those three themes, those goals, are so resonant today in a way that they were not just 5 to 7 years ago. And that creates the need and the opportunity for us to work together and explore new ways that we can bring our trade tools to bear, again, in service of sustainability, resilience, and inclusion.
So you've been talking to your Asian allies during this trip as well. Can you give us an assessment on how these talks went with regards to the trade relationship?
I would say motivated and enthusiastic in terms of the United States bringing economic engagement to the region through the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. We have altogether 14 countries right now participating in this framework, and we have generated a tremendous amount of momentum. And so I am extremely bullish on this economic framework as we head into 2023.